Good afternoon, everyone. I, Ashish Karodia, Central Council member of ICSI, on behalf of the Institute of Company Secretaries of India, extend a very warm welcome to our respected speaker Devendra Deshpande ji and participant who have gathered with us today for this enlightening session on critical issue in annual filing under MCA-21 V3 under the umbrella of EEE 5.0 Master Knowledge Series. Friends, before we delve into the topic, I am delighted to announce that the fifth ICSI Board Mentorship Program is going to be held from 8 to 11 January in Jaisalmer, Rajasthan. The registration are now open for mentorship program. For further details about the program, please visit website of the institute. Also, the National Convention of ICSI will start on 31st October in Kochi, and registration are now open for participants who wish to attend the convention virtually. Now coming to the topic, friends, with the evolution of Ministry of Corporate Affairs digital platform from MCA-21 V2 to V3, the compliance landscape has undergone a major transformation. The introduction of new forms and enhanced integration of data analytics have significantly changed the way of professional, particularly company secretary, handle statutory filings and annual compliances. While the upgraded system aims to promote transparency, accuracy, and ease of doing, it has also brought forth several practical challenges from technical glitches to interpretation issues, workflow complexity, and timeline constraints. At this stage, it is encouraging to note the proactive and responsive approach of the Ministry of Corporate Affairs in understanding these concerns and extending the due date for annual filing under the MCA-21 V3 up to 31st December 2025. This thoughtful move has provided much needed relief to professional and corporate alike, allowing them to adequate time to adopt to the new system and ensure complete and correct compliance. Here, I would like to take this opportunity to acknowledge the efforts of our President ICSI, CS Dhananjay Shukla ji, Vice President Pawan Chandak ji, and former President CS Manish Gupta ji for their dedicated efforts in securing this extension. Friends, today's session aims to explore the critical issues pertaining to the V3 portal. This session will bring in the depth discussion pertaining to these changes. Throughout the session, we will have in-depth discussion on these changes, including practical insights and best practices to help company secretaries fulfill their crucial responsibilities with seamless and accurate compliance under the evolving MCA framework. Also, this session aims to provide an in-depth understanding of the issues and solutions and enable professionals to adapt efficiently to the evolving compliance ecosystem. With this small introduction of the topic, I would like to welcome eminent speaker for today's session, CS Devendra Deshpande ji. Although he doesn't require any introduction, but let me have the privilege to read his brief profile. Friends, he is the fellow member of the Institute of Company Secretaries of India and a postgraduate in commerce from Pune University.
आशीष भाई
Yes.
सिर्फ former president बोलो, that is sufficient, so we can continue with the topic.
Yes, right. He has been the vice president for the year 2021 and president for the year 2022 of the Institute of Company Secretaries of India. One more, sir, he is first company secretary to receive a Youth Icon Award 2019 in the field of corporate affairs from Purnavad Yuva Forum. We are privileged to have you, sir, to deliberate on today's topic, and I am confident that today's deliberation will enrich our understanding and equip us with updated knowledge. Once again, I welcome you all. I welcome you, sir, and now over to you, sir, Deven sir, for your presentation.
Thank you, Ashish bhai. Thank you for that introductory remark, and I really feel happy to be part of this EEE series again and discussing on a different topic of annual filing. I never had dreamt in my career as a company secretary that on 29th of October we would be having a session on annual filing. But because of Diwali vacations, and I think the lot of applauds to all the Central Council members, including Ashish Bhai. He has been quite humble and he has not mentioned his name because he has also worked very hard for getting this extension before Diwali. So getting an extension is always a tough task, but getting it within time and within the time frame within which it has come is really a good effort. And I have seen President, Vice President, Manish Bhai, Ashish Bhai, Rajesh, all working really hard towards getting these extensions or new recognitions from the ministry and other regulators. So really good work done by all of you. And it was really a Diwali gift for all the members. So I'm representing members now because not being a part of Central Council now. So I'm representing the members. So on behalf of all the members, all the students, all the trainees who are working in the office, from everyone, thanks to the Institute for their efforts towards getting this extension of filing date up to 31st of December. We know that this was very much due because of working of the website and the load on the website, the new forms which were coming up. There are a lot of clarity which is required on these forms, and I think there are a lot of things which we need to discuss before we actually start filing the forms and get a good hold over these forms. There is no major change in the form, but there are a few tricky changes. And as you correctly mentioned, Ashish Bhai, that these forms are based on AI-based website, and the data which we are going to fill in is going to be used by regulators for tracking the compliances, for correctness of the compliances, and many more. And whatever changes they have brought in, I think those changes are from the perspective of regulations. Like the very good example, I believe, is the photograph of the registered office as on the date of filing. So which was missing earlier. Only at the time of shifting of registered office, we used to attach it. But now on an annual basis, we would be required to do that. So I think all the changes which have brought in are very important. It has created a lot of value now because you would require a lot of information from the company and put it in the form to fill it up. And there is a correctness required in the form as well as attachments. The new e-forms which have been introduced, they will also play a very vital role. So we will, during this next 1.5 hours or 2 hours, whatever time we have, in that we will try to discuss various critical issues. We will not discuss how to fill up the form particularly, but we will discuss what are the important points which we should consider, what are the points on which there is a dilemma in the minds of members, that how to fill it up and what should be the base, like section 188, 186, ADT 1, CSR 2, a lot of points are there. And at the end, we also have to face the technical difficulties of this website, because many of the times you will fill it up, you will do all your work, and at the end the forms may not get downloaded. So there might be some technical glitches. So we have got a breather, I believe. We have got a breather of next 2 months. So entire November and entire December as an extension. But remember that I would like to mention this particular point to all the members, that on 1st January, the additional fee will be calculated from 29th October itself. So it will not be 100 rupees, it will be 6,100 rupees. So be mindful that the late fee, which is going to be charged after this extended period, would also calculate the late fees for this extended period. So it will not be 100 rupees on 1st January. On 1st January, it would be 6,100 rupees. So be mindful that we have to file the forms correctly and within time. So this is the basic idea behind having this session. When President, Vice President and Ashish Bhai, we had a call and they said that you have to take this session because there are a lot of questions which are coming up. So let's try to have some discussion. We may not conclude few points as of now because we would require some clarifications from the ministry also. So I have put in one slide for the suggestions to the members, one slide for suggestion to the ministry, which Ashish bhai, you can take it up and through CLGC, you can like submit it to the ministry so that we will have more ease of filing and ease of compliance. So Pradeep, next. Next slide, Pradeep. Yeah. So today what we will be discussing is AOC4 and AOC4 CFS, which is for a normal company, which is not a NBFC. Then AOC4 XBRL, I think this is the easiest form so far. If you consider the new forms, this is the easiest one because the XBRL software or XBRL taxonomy has not changed. Therefore, we used to prepare the XBRL in V2. Similarly, we have to prepare the XBRL in V3. The form is also not very difficult. If there is a CSR, then CSR2 form will automatically pop up and then you will have to fill it up. But now with V3 system, we are conversant with and we can do it. So this is one of the easiest form which I believe we have to deal with is the AOC4 XBRL. Wherein the consolidated XML file also goes with the form itself, so no new form gets created. So it's one of the easiest form, no major changes in that particular form. AOC4 NBFC, it's been a difficult task for members to fill it up, these forms, AOC4 NBFC forms. And if it is an AOC4 NBFC with consolidation, then it becomes a very difficult task to handle because the number of data which you require, the number of information which you collate and put it in those forms, it's really, really difficult. So it is time consuming, not difficult, not impossible, I believe, but it takes a lot of time and a lot of information is required to be gathered. So AOC4 NBFC again is something which is tough form to deal with. MGT7, MGT8, again, MGT8, there is no change. Whatever we were doing till last year, we have to continue. I think there are a lot of questions in the minds of company secretaries in practice or in employment that whether MGT8 signed copy, the scanned copy is still required or whether it will be digitally signed. So there have been advisories issued by our institute. So what are the best practices for MGT8? What are the best practices for MGT7? Because MGT7 is the only form which I believe has an exclusive authority for the company secretary. So may it be in employment or may it be in practice. So this form can be certified only by company secretaries and not by any other professional. So I think this form plays a very vital role in our professional growth and development. Then MGT15, again, there are few changes in MGT15 and there are few issues also which many members are facing in terms of company secretary and his association with the company. So few companies have faced this particular issue. Few of them have been corrected. Few of them are in process of correction. But this form again is a bit technically difficult form to deal with. And basically MGT15 doesn't have any extended time period for filing. So we have to file it within time. Next one is ADT1. There have been a lot of discussions on a lot of WhatsApp groups or everywhere there have been discussion about ADT1 and whether the ADT1 is mandatory for the appointment of first auditor and whether Z9999 system of filing AOC4 form will still be continued, and a lot of questions are hovering around this ADT1. So we will try to discuss how to deal with ADT1 because in ADT1 also recently MCA has given a clarification in respect of individual when they are appointed as auditors, how to put their names and not the names of their firms. Like for example, myself, Devendra Deshpande, I am practicing as a proprietor of DVD and Associates. So if I am a statutory auditor, my name should be mentioned there as Devendra Deshpande and not my firm's name. So DVD and Associates should not be used because it gets tallied with your PAN. And again, it asks for the, if you put it firm details, then it asks you for the partner signing. And in partner signing, I cannot put the same PAN again. Therefore, ministry has already given one clarification on this ADT1, wherein they have mentioned that in case of proprietary firm, the name of the individual should be mentioned as the auditor in ADT1. So that has been clarified already by the ministry. And members, I think in addition to ministry's website, mca.gov.in, you will also be required to keep a watch on the X handle of, so that is the earlier Twitter handle of our ministry, wherein they are putting up few clarifications, and those clarifications will definitely help us in filing these annual filing forms. So please keep a close watch on those points. Today also they have given some clarification in respect of MSME1 form, because this MSME1 form we have been filing since 2019 now. Still, there are a lot of questions in the minds of people with a lot of changes which have happened last year. Now there is a complete clarity about MSME1 form, but still there are a lot of representations, a lot of emails going to ministry asking for the clarification. So they might have given the clarification in respect of MSME1 form also, that if there are no outstanding to the small or micro enterprises as on 30th September 2025 or any half year end, then MSME1 form is not required to be filed. So they have given a clarity about that. So similar clarities would be required from ministry. So my last slide will include those points, that on which points we would require some clarity from the ministry, so that we will have ease in filing and there will be consistency in filing. And the last form which we will be just touching upon, because AOC4 and MGT7 are the two forms which are most critical. CSR2, again, it had changed itself. So earlier CSR2 we used to file it after a gap of good time period from filing of your AOC4 to CSR. So there was a big time gap between filing of AOC4 and CSR2, because we usually work on the last date. So last date was 31st March every year almost. On the next year. So we used to file our AOC4 in October and file CSR2 in March. Many of the people will file it simultaneously, but there has been a gap between the filing of your AOC4 and CSR2. Now they have come out with a clarity that it will be filed along with your AOC4. So in AOC4, if you click CSR is applicable, then automatically CSR2 will get generated. And we will discuss what are the online filings, offline filings, and how to deal with it. And before that, just one important point, the CFS form for the AOC4, they have now included as a linked form for annual filing. So in AOC4, if you mention that whether consolidated financials is applicable, yes or no, if you click yes, then AOC4 CFS also will get generated as a linked form, okay, in offline mode as well as online mode. We have observed in previous versions of this V2, people used to file only standalone, and by mistake they used to mention whether consolidated applicable or not. By mistake they used to mention as no, and if they mention no, they were prohibited or they were restricted from filing AOC4 CFS, and which actually created problems in the compliances, further compliances. Therefore, now ministry has come out with this good idea that your CFS and your normal forms should get filed simultaneously. There will not be two different filings. There will be only one filing. We are also saving on the filing fees. That is, even though that is not much, but still we are saving on the filing fees. Only one time we have to pay that filing fee for AOC4, which will include the AOC4 CFS also. So therefore, these changes are going to be helpful for us. Along with that, whenever we are talking about AOC4, we will also discuss about AOC1, AOC2, yeah, all those linked forms. And very important forms which will get uploaded along with the AOC4 form. So earlier, so any PCS would take around 2 hours, 3 hours time to complete the filling up of the forms, but now the time limit might get extended, and accordingly, I think every company secretary should determine his minimum scale of fees for annual filing, for MGT8 certifications, for MGT7 certifications, and AOC4 filing. So a lot of thought process which company secretaries should give when we are talking about annual filing. And what I believe is the company secretaries are the most moral and ethical professionals, and they take load of this entire compliance system on them, because we are in the last we are on the last step of this financial year. So company takes its own sweet time of 5 months to give the data to the auditors. The auditors will also take their own time to audit their financial statements. They will also get extended time of 60 days for generation of UDIN. And when financial statements will come to the company secretaries, there will be a rush that we have to file it without late fees. So I think we are last in that entire food chain. Therefore, we always take a lot of stress. But we will also discuss that what will be the repercussions of late filing, how to deal with it, and all those things also we will discuss during this session. So these are the things which we will be discussing. So Pradeep, next slide, please. Yeah, thank you. So let's start first with AOC4. AOC4 is something which is one of the most bulkiest form which a professional will have to file, because we have seen the incorporation forms, and when we talk about good number of subscribers, like 7 subscribers, 10 subscribers, the details required in that incorporation forms are tremendous, and attachments, there are a lot of rules which have to be read, and then we used to file this incorporation forms. But when it comes to AOC4, I think that is one of the most lengthiest form which I have ever seen, and it is going to take a lot of time. And remember one thing, AOC4 form cannot get revised. You may have to go for cancellation of the earlier AOC4 by following Rule 10 of the specification of fees rules, and accordingly you may have to cancel the STP form and then refile the form with the additional fees. So AOC4 will not get filed revised. Again, a very important point that in MGT7 they have come out with 2 radio buttons now, original and revised. But this revised MGT7 is not the revised which we used to file voluntarily. So if there is a mistake which we found in MGT7, people used to file next MGT7. So one more MGT7 they used to file with a clarification that there was a typo or there was a mistake in earlier MGT7. Therefore, we are refiling it, and both the MGT7 would remain on the document registry. This was a process which was followed by many company secretaries. But now this revised MGT7 is not the one which we can file it voluntarily. So if the earlier MGT7 is made defective by the ROC, then only you can file MGT7 revised. So make sure that the MGT7 or AOC4, whatever you are filing it correctly, and there are no major mistakes in the form. We will also check what are the certification clauses, and when we are putting our digital signature on AOC4, how difficult it is to actually sign that particular form. So whenever I tell my trainees or the new budding company secretaries, I always tell them that when you are using your digital signature or putting a pen on the paper for signing any document, there has to be a lot of consciousness and clarity in your mind that now you are going to be responsible for this signing. So I think we all need to be very careful while certifying the documents. We should not keep our digital signature with our trainees and just keep it, and they are doing this filings on their own, this method should be avoided. So I think this is one point which I wanted to share before we get into the details. So when we talk about AOC4, I think the first and foremost thing which should be available is financial statement availability. And we all have seen that the UDIN generation for ICAI is 60 days after the date of signing. So many of the times the UDIN gets generated later, and then we don't get the scanned copies with UDIN, either handwritten or printed on that. And then our entire work gets stuck because of getting the financial statements available along with the audit report and the notes to account. So the first and foremost step is to get the financial statements within time. Once we get the financial statements, then only this annual filing will get started. You cannot keep the director's report ready, or you can keep it a draft, but many of the times it has its own issues, because in last couple of years there have been a lot of changes in the director's report also. So we'll discuss those points also. And therefore, without financial statements, it is very difficult to start your annual filing. So the first and foremost thing is availability of financial statement full set when we are talking. So when we talk about small private limited companies, getting that full set of financial statements, correct financial statements, because you will find that there would be some typographical errors in the face value of shares. Then you will find few errors in the list of shareholders holding more than 5%, then list of promoters shareholding, all these small points, or related party transaction for that matter. So you will find that there can be some typographical mistakes or understanding mistakes in these points, and therefore you need to have a complete correct set of financial statement before you get into the annual filing forms. Once you have these financial statements, then every PCS will have one big question in their mind, whether we should go for online filing or offline filing. So this offline filing is a new concept which has been brought in by this Ministry of Corporate Affairs, because we have seen V3, the entire V3 was online version. All the forms were online. There was no utility for offline filing. All the forms were online. All the forms on V2 were offline forms. So, and I believe there is a lot of difference between V2 offline and V3 offline. That we will discuss, because whenever the documents will come to you, then you or your office or your assistants or your trainees or associates will start filling up the form. So whether they should go for online filing or offline filing. So there have been a lot of pros and cons for both of the points, whether online, we should use online or offline. But what I have come to a conclusion as of now is, if your system is working well, if the website is running very smoothly, then you can go for online filing. There is no problem, because then if site is working smoothly, you can fill it up, the form, online form. There are save buttons in between. So wherever you are filling up the data in online form, there are save buttons. So once you click the save button, then it will get saved. Even if you get logged out, or even if you close the browser, the data which you have filled it up to the save button. So on one page, there are around 4 or 5 save buttons. So you can do it partially also. So part by part, you can do it. But if the site is not functioning, like what happened in last week of September, when there was a due date of this KYC, the site was not functioning well. So there were a lot of issues even in login. So at that point of time, I think whenever you are not very sure that you would be filing the documents when the site is working or not. So if you're not very sure, then you should go for offline filing. Why I'm saying that online filing is good? Because online filing gives you a lot of flexibility. So you can make changes in online form at any point of time. You are allowed to make all changes, and the rest of the details will remain saved. So that's the advantage of online filing. Offline filing, so in offline filing, there are around 10 to 15 points which you will have to select first as an online form. So it's a hybrid form actually. So it is not completely offline. So 10 pointers you may have to have included those 10 points in the next slide, but you will have to first fill up those 10 points. Once those 10 points are filled up, then you will generate Excel files for filling up the data. And then those Excel files will be offline completely. So those Excel files, you can fill it up without internet, without any connectivity. There is no problem. So you can log out, your login ID will get released, and then you can keep filling up the data. Once the entire data is filled up, you will have to upload those Excel files again on the website. So again, you will have to log in, upload those Excel files. The only problem is the Excel files after getting uploaded will give you an error list. So those who have been working with the XBRL documents, they know that how the errors occur in the XBRL validation tool, right? In the notepad. So same way here, you will receive those errors in the notepad, and then you will have to solve those errors and re-upload those Excel files. So that is one problem in offline mode, that you will fill it up the entire data, and the errors will be generated at the end. So till that point, you may not be very conversant with till the time you are not very conversant with what to fill up. Like for the very first time when I tried to upload these Excel files, I got 157 errors, out of which around 150 errors were about those adding 0. So they are not getting pre-filled in Excel file. You will have to punch those 0 numbers in the Excel file. So I think that is one disadvantage of offline filing. One more disadvantage is if there are any changes in the first 10 points, which you have mentioned in the offline form. So the first part of the offline form, if there is any change in that data, then all your Excel files which you have filled in will become nil. So they will not be usable. So you will have to regenerate the new Excel files and re-upload the new Excel files. So that's one tricky situation. So for example, by mistake, while filling up the offline form, I mentioned the date of your board meeting adopting the financial statements as 19th August. It was 18th August. After completing the entire AOC 4, I realized that it was 18th August. In online form, you can get into the form, log in, go back, and after going back, you can edit that particular date. And again, the further data will remain saved. So there is no problem. But in offline form, if you want to really change that date from 19th August to 18th August, then your entire Excel file will become 0. So you will have to again copy paste the entire data from the earlier Excel file to the new Excel file. So that's a big issue with the offline form. But if site is not functioning well, if there are glitches, if the login is taking a lot of time, then offline mode is better. So these are the points which are very important when we talk about online and offline filing. So everyone will have to really take care of which one to be used and at what point of time, and understand that after 15 days, the forms will get cancelled. So you are aware about those V3 systems now, wherein first it is black, then it is amber, and then it becomes red, and then it gets cancelled. So if you have already created one form and the data is awaited, earlier what used to happen is we download one PDF, fill up the data, whichever is available, rest of the data, whenever it will come, then we will fill it up in the PDF. It was easy. And it might take 1 month also. There was no problem in that. But now there is also a time limit from date of creation of the form till the date of filing of the form. So you will get around 15 days time. Within that, you must get all the data You must punch in all the data. It should get validated. It should get uploaded within those 15 days. So understand that now it is a timely game for all of us. So make sure that before you enter into AOC 4, you should have the entire data with you. So that's a crucial point which I would like to inform to all our members. Next point is downloading the forms. So you will get a zip file. Again, there have been a lot of technical issues wherein by clicking the same link, you will get forms with different data. So if you click the download forms, you might get 5 forms downloaded, out of which couple of them would be corrupt. Then again, you will have to log in, log out, log in, again try to download. One desi jugaad which I have seen is prepare the forms, everything in Chrome, and download it from the Brave browser. This has worked better than downloading it from the same browser, but it is not the solution. So I think that is one suggestion which we can give it to ministry, that you may take time, or while downloading the form, you may show us an time limit that you can download these forms after 2 hours, so that we will not keep on trying to download those forms. Okay, so those forms can be downloaded only after 2 hours, once the corruptness of those files are over. So what I have seen is, if you click download forms, it will give you 5 MB forms once. Same link if you click, you may get 10 MB forms. Same link if you click, you can get 15 MB forms, and this is unending. And on one lucky movement, you will get all the forms downloaded and all the forms will be uncorrupt, and then you will send it for signature. So again, this is a technical issue. So earlier what we used to do is, we used to just upload the form, which used to take maybe 5 minutes, 10 minutes time. But now preparation, even after preparation, there is one process of downloading the forms, attaching the SC and uploading. So it might take a longer time. So I think ministry can come out with a simple pop-up after. So once I click the download forms, it should give us a pop-up saying that you can download these forms after 2 hours. Like they are giving it for the payment of fees. You can make the payment only after 4 hours, or your payment will get credited only after 4 hours. That's fine. So we will not again go on the system and keep trying, because more number of people would be there on the website. It will have more issues. That is what I have understood. So I think they have a good bandwidth. That is what has been informed to us, to all the members by the ministry over so many webinars, or even the seminars or physical meetings which they have conducted across India at various places. I think we need to be careful in this particular thing. Again, when you so normally all the company secretaries, considering the complexity, will have system of maker and checker. And in the V3 system of annual filing, you may have to have 2 checkers. So maker, checker, checker. So once the form is prepared, then in the online mode itself or on the Excel file, you will have 1 checker. So the Excel file will get checked, or online during, so after logging in, you can check that form. That is checker number 1. And once the PDFs are getting generated, again, you may have to check the form, because there might be few data which might have been reshuffled. So we'll discuss that particular point also. So there is one suggestion to the ministry in that respect also. So let's, so there can be a requirement of 2 checkers also. So 1 maker, 1 checker online, or 1 checker of Excel file, and 1 checker at the end, the entire PDF which we are attaching. Okay. Next point is multiple logins. So V3 has a system that, so earlier in V2, this was a big problem, that if you are logged in one system, it will not allow you logging in any other system. And if by mistake the earlier login gets collapsed, or if the site gets crashed, then you were not allowed to log in again for a period of half an hour or so. So this was taking a lot of time. So ministry has come out with a thought process that if there is a first login which is live and somebody else logs in, then the second login remains active. The first login gets deactivated automatically. So it will not save any data. So this is a problem. And this problem was discussed way back earlier in 2021-22, that how to resolve this particular problem. So they have come out with a staff login concept, which is a very good concept, which I am using in my office since 2021, that one company secretary can have 10 staff logins. So those 10 staff logins can be logged in simultaneously. It will be based on my membership number and my COP, and they will work on my behalf. So they will have their own login. Only thing is they should have their own mobile number, they should have their own email address, and it will get linked to my professional membership number. And that is absolutely safe if you are filing it through professional login. Now, many company secretaries, many PCS have started using either the director's login, but it has got a problem of receiving the OTPs n number of times. So again, that is a difficult process. So if you are sitting late and trying to file the form, then you must take a OTP from the director. So that again creates a lot of difficulty for us while filing. Or many people are nowadays using the company login. So company login is getting created. So the login ID will be their CIN number, and on the basis of CIN number, you can create their own login, company's login, and you can start filling up the forms from company login. So one login for one company, and that all filing can happen through that particular one login itself. So that is one more advantageous thing. Another thing is, if you prepare a form from your professional ID and you save it and you upload it, and if the payment is high, so for example, if there is an additional fee, say 50,000, 60,000, and which you don't want to pay it from your pocket, then what you can do is you can ask the companies to log in their company ID, their form will appear there, they can make the payment from their system itself. So you are not concerned or involved in the payment of fees system. So that is also one more option which you have. So you have three options. Either you can file it from your own account, but it has got a problem because one form might take 6 to 8 hours. So till that point, if you're doing an online filing, then it might get stuck for 6 to 8 hours. So no other person will be able to file it through that particular login. Second is the staff login, which you can use. Third is the director's login, which you can use. And fourth is the company login, which you can use. So these are the four options which you have. Depending on the flexibility, availability of OTPs, you can use those. Okay. Next one is we have been facing this issue of DSC verification. So after filing of the form, you will get an error that DSC is not verified. Let me tell you that almost 99% times this is a valid error. This is not a technical issue, or this is not a problem with the website. There is a problem with the understanding of this DSC registration. So every director should get himself registered as a director in V3, and he should register his digital signature in his login, not in company's login. He should have his DSC registered in his own personal login ID on the V3. Then only your digital signature will work. The company secretaries earlier used to register themselves as authorized signatories or secretary or managers, but now they are required to register themselves as professionals. So if you are not registered yourself as professionals, then you might face this particular DSC verification issue. And this particular point I have seen in MGT 15, wherein the company secretary is not associated with the company, such kind of errors are coming. But these are data errors, and they will have to be corrected through institute or through MCA. So I think these are valid errors. So don't just blame the website functioning for DSC verification error. There might be 1 or 2 cases wherein you might have registered the DSC properly, but still it is throwing you an error. but for that you may have to edit the form and refile it. Same is the case with the latest PDF version not used. So you may have to check the latest version of PDF in your system, as well as the system where the forms are getting signed, and then you might not face this particular issue. Issues with the saving. So if there are 4 different save buttons on one page, you cannot fill up the further data before you say the save to the first button. So you will have to fill up the first part first, save it, then second part, then third part, then fourth part. Okay. If you don't click the save button, the further fields will be uneditable. So you might be facing this particular issue. So I have mentioned this particular point in this critical points to start with. Ashish bhai, any questions which have come?
No, bhai, abhi right now.
Right now, no questions. Okay. So these are the points which we need to understand before we get into the filing. These are the points which I mentioned you, that in offline AOC 4 forms, these are the important points which are required to be filled in online. So which includes, so your name of the company, then your registered office, everything will get pre-filled in the AOC 4, the AOC 4 offline, then date of the board meeting, date of annual general meeting, whether it was adjourned or not adjourned, the due date of AGM, those details which we used to fill it up in AOC 4 version V2 forms. Similar data you may have to fill it up, financial year related details, whether the company is a holding or a subsidiary, under which section 2, subsection 87, 1 or 2 or 3, whatever it is. So those questions, then details about auditor and ADT1 will have to be filled up online. So in offline form also, these details are required to be filled up online. Then details in respect of server, wherein your electronic records are maintained. Again, this is different from AOC 5. So make sure that it is not mandatory to match this address with the AOC 5. So there is a lot of confusion amongst that. Then related party transactions. So this again is a very critical issue, because in AOC 4, if you read it carefully, it will just ask you whether there are related party transactions. It doesn't give reference to AS18 or Ind AS 24, or it doesn't give reference to 188, or it doesn't say anything. It just says whether you have a related party transaction. If you say yes, then it will open up AOC 2. If you say no, then AOC 2 will not get opened up and it will not be a link form. Okay. So now, in earlier days, what we used to do is, or many company secretaries used to do is, AOC 2 used to be divided into 2 parts. One is the part related to the transactions which are not at arm's length. I have not seen any AOC 2 which has the transactions which are not at arm's length. So usually they will be all at arm's length, because if they are not at arm's length, then there might be few questions which might come in. So therefore, many of the AOC 2 forms will have only second part which will be activated. And in the second part, there is one word which has been used, material transactions which are at arm's length. So there used to be some non-material transaction, even though the materiality definition is not given in Companies Act, but people used to take those 10% shareholder approval wale limits as materiality. What I believe is materiality has to be decided by the board of directors. So there were a lot of different practices in respect of AOC 2, but many companies will take that stand and they will fill it up. They will say 0. So no transactions which are material in nature. So there was, so for example, in your financial statement, there is a transaction of reimbursement of expenses of 500 rupees with a related party, and the company size is say 5,000 crores. Then for you, 500 rupees, even if it is at arm's length, it is not material, and I will not include it in AOC 2 form. Yeah. But if you mention yes here in RPT, whether the company has got a related party transaction. So reimbursement of expenses is a related party transaction as per AS 18 or Ind AS 24, but not as per Companies Act. So whether you should click yes or no is a question. Yeah. So if you just mention yes, then it will open up AOC2. And in AOC2, you will be required to mention reimbursement of expenses. But the Excel file which is getting generated has got only 7 clauses which are mentioned in section 188. Sale or purchase of goods or services, property, profit or place of profit, office of place of profit, so on and so forth. So only those 7 pointers, underwriting, only those 7 pointers are included in that Excel file. So you'll have to be very careful while clicking whether related party transaction is applicable as yes or no. The most practical way out in this is if you have related party transactions which are covered under 188, then you mention as yes, and then you also attach one explanatory note in the Excel file or in a separate attachment saying that there are related party transactions which are not covered under 188 but disclosed in accounting standard AS 18 or Ind AS 24 notes which are not covered under AOC2. So something of that sort you may have to deal with, and you may have to conclude it accordingly depending on the facts of the case. Yeah. CSR applicable or not, again, and all these points are also included in AOC4 online. Okay. Whether CSR is applicable or not, now they have come out with 2 applicabilities of CSR. One is the original CSR. So on the basis of previous year's threshold, CSR is applicable to me. So I will say yes. So that's a simple way of CSR. Yeah. But if CSR is not applicable this year, but there was some amount which was required to be spent out of the previous year's CSR requirement. So ongoing projects which have been like the amount has been kept in a separate bank account last year and you have utilized it in this year, then you may have to fill up one CSR2 for that particular point. If you don't have a CSR this year, if you have a CSR this year, then both the parts of CSR2 form will get generated. So you don't need to worry about it. But if CSR2 is not applicable this time, but there is an unspent amount which you have spent this year, then you may have to fill up the second part of CSR2 and should select the second part. Because once the net worth, turnover and profit is included, it will show you an error saying that CSR is not applicable. So they have bifurcated these 2 points. Very good change in the CSR2 related filing. And secretarial audit applicable or not. Once you fill it up this data and generate Excel file, then and start filling up Excel files, then those Excel files will be valid till the time you don't make any changes in this data which you have already created. So make sure that you don't end up in changing any of these fields, yeah, if you are doing a offline filing. So this is a cautious call for all the members. Next one, Pradeep. Yeah. So this is what is all about. We have discussed about financial statements. Now we start filling up AOC4. And the first question which will come to you is whether financial statement should be in rounded off form and whether you should fill up the data in the forms in the actual numbers. This is a big difficulty and serious difficulty for company secretaries because as per Schedule 3 and the amendment which happened, I believe in 2021 or 22, the financial statements which are physically signed by directors and auditors and prepared as per Schedule 3 need to be compulsorily into rounded off figures. So you cannot have a signed financial statement in actual numbers. Yeah. Earlier people used to convert the financial statements into either actual numbers or rounded off figures and then the XBRL used to be prepared. But now you will be required to also attach the signed copies of your financial statements to the XBRL form also. So I think if you are starting with AOC4, you must have financial statements which are rounded off. Not only financial statements, so not only the balance sheet and P&L, but also all the notes, all the schedules need to be rounded off as per Schedule 3. And the words used in Schedule 3 is shall. It is not may anymore. So there is a difference between may and shall, and therefore now the rounding off of the financial statement is must. So I think the first checkpoint for all company secretaries is if you receive a signed copy or a draft copy of financial statements, and if they are not in the rounded off figures, rounded off means nearest 100, nearest thousands, nearest lakhs, or it can be in 2 decimal, 3 decimal, whatever it is. Yeah. And accordingly, you will have to round it off. But even if you may have a signed copy of financial statement in rounded off figures, you are required to fill up the actual numbers in AOC4, and that's a difficult task. To overcome this, what I have understood is the best rounding off is up to 2 decimal hundreds. This will give you the full number. Just by removing the decimal, you will get the full number, because it is up to hundreds, and up to 2 decimals means it will be a complete number. This is the best solution which I have found. But if the numbers are huge, like what we discussed, 5,000 crores, then rounding off in hundreds up to 2 decimal becomes really very, very difficult. So you may have to ask for the 2 financial statements. No professional is going to help you. So no other professional. So maybe the auditor or the finance controller of the company might say that we don't need to prepare 2 kinds of financial statements. Make sure that actual numbers are not signed and are not attached to the form. You should have it for your records, because you are going to certify the form. So therefore, the final principle is whatever scanned document you are attaching it to AOC4 needs to be rounded off, scanned, signed, and complete rounding off of the figures. That needs to be attached. For your data punching, you should use actual number financial statements and then certify the form. So it's a bit difficult, but this needs to be followed till the time AOC4 comes out with a drop down that this is in lakhs, this is in thousands, this is in hundreds. But I don't think so, because a lot of discussions have taken place. There was one clarification issued 2 to 3 years back by the ministry that even if Schedule 3 requires it mandatory round off, AOC4 requires mandatory actual numbers, and that's a big gap. So this is one suggestion that ministry should think about, and they should come out with either one of it. So either they should make Schedule 3 as optional or Schedule 3 as actual number. Then it is very easy for us to fill it up AOC4 at actual numbers. Then audit report, the final copy signed, okay, and the final copy Word file. These are again going to be very important documents, because there will be n number of versions in audit report, because you must be aware the way audit takes place. Yeah. So there is audit team, then there are review partners, then there are signing partners, then there are directors at different levels. And at different levels, there might be changes in the draft audit report before they are presented to the board. Okay, so there will be a lot of discussion between the finance team and the auditor on the draft director's report. So whatever the auditor is signing at the end, you should have a Word file of that, because copy pasting in OCR, the PDF getting converted into Word, or copying it from the PDF and pasting it in your e-audit report form is really, really difficult, and it will have a lot of queries, lot of question marks will come, lot of symbols will get changed. I will be seen as L by the system. So there will be a lot of chaos if you don't have a final word file of your audit report. And same is the case with your director's report. You must have final director's report duly signed as well as final director's report in word file. Both. And you cannot keep on checking each and every line. So for every company, you cannot do that. It is not possible. It is inhuman to do all these things again at the time of filing. So make sure that you send an email to all your clients or to inform your finance department that we want this and this. If this is not there, then it is really difficult to file AOC4. Okay, so these two things are required. In director's report, we'll discuss one point later. Yeah. AOC1, again, if you have holding company, if you have subsidiary companies or associate companies, the AOC4 will have to be prepared separately. Again, if you look at the provisions of the Act, yeah, the AOC1 also needs to be signed and certified as it has been signed and certified at the time of financial statements. So ideally 2 directors, one of which should be managing director or chairman if authorized by the board, and the auditor. They are allowed to sign the financial statement. So same people are required to sign AOC1. But many of the times we have seen that AOC1 forms are not signed. And that's again one problem. And now this AOC1 will again be in a online mode, even though the digital signature will be required only from one director. But again, the scanned copy of AOC1 will be required to be attached as a part of the annual report, and it has to be signed. So make sure that it is certified similar to the financial statements. Then AOC2, we have discussed this particular point in respect of related party transaction. This RPT is again a big worry. So either ministry should make changes in the form wherein they should ask us whether you have a related party transaction under section 188 and then give a pop-up of 188 Excel. This is the safest way. If that happens, then our certification will be also correct, our data will be also correct, and we will be focusing only on those 7 transactions, 7 type of transactions, and not on all transactions. Like many of the people are of the view that the loan transaction, loan given, loan taken, is not covered under 188. Yeah, because it is dealt by certain other sections, and unless I am into actual service of lending money, I will not treat it as services. So I will not take it as 188. So these are few practices which are followed by professionals. So I think that also needs to be discussed in detail. But as of now, for AOC4 form, I have a suggestion to the ministry that they should give us a reference of 188 section while they are asking us the question whether company has a related party transaction or not. Then for AOC4 XBRL, you are required to attach 3 documents. One is the XML file, which is getting generated from the software, duly validated. There were few issues with the validation earlier. These days, in last couple of days also, there were some glitches. We have seen one file not getting pre-scrutinized at all. There was error of pre-scrutiny service error for a couple of days. We have been struggling, but that system has not changed much. So there are like 1 out of 100 cases we are facing this XBRL kind of issue, validation kind of issue. But you will have to attach the XML file, consolidated and standalone. Along with that, it is preferable to attach, or it is near to the mandatory to attach the converted files of PDF. So XML converted to PDF needs to be attached to AOC4 XBRL, and mandatorily required to attach the signed copy of the annual report to AOC4 XBRL. So we used to not attach this signed copy to AOC4 XBRL, but now it has become mandatory under V3. So make sure that you have a signed copy. Even in case of listed entities, you have the annual report which is uploaded on the stock exchange website or the company's website, it is usually unsigned. But when you are uploading it on the MCA, you make sure that you have all the signatures on that annual report. So don't just blindly attach the annual report downloaded from the stock exchanges for a particular listed entity. So make sure you are attaching the signed version to it. Then ADT1. So in AOC4, it asks you for the SRN of ADT1. Yeah, ADT1 SRN, if you have, then you need to put the SRN there. The entire data will get pre-filled. The signing partner and the membership number of signing partner will be editable if it is a firm. If it is individual, it will be frozen. But if it is a firm, then the signing partner's name and membership number will be editable. Whatever you have filled in ADT1, you can make changes in the AOC4. So in AOC4, the firm PAN, firm registration number, firm address, everything will get pre-filled and it will be non-editable. But name of the signing partner and membership number of signing partner will be editable. You can edit it because maybe, for example, I am partner of GDR and Partners LLP. Yeah. Today, ADT1 has been filed in my name, but tomorrow some of my other partner is going to sign that financial statement. Then in AOC4, I can make the change from Devendra Deshpande to that partner and I can put his membership number. So that is editable only in case of firms. In case of individual, it is not editable. Okay. Now, if it is a first year of AOC4, yeah, there is no. So when you incorporated the company last year, yeah, you did not file ADT1 because it was not mandatory. Just because change of look and feel of ADT1, few people have misunderstood that ADT1 is mandatory for first year filing. So there is no change of law. So Companies Act still requires ADT1 to be filed only in case of AGM or EGM. For board meeting appointment, original first auditor appointment, ADT1 still is not required. Okay, you can file it. So the ministry has given you an option whether you want to file it or not. So that is your prerogative. So if you want to really file AOC4 now for the first year, you mention Z9999999. So 8 times 9 and Z. Okay. Even after filling it up Z9999999, you might see that the field of auditors is not editable and it is not accepting Z99999. In that case, just delete 1 9 from that entire list. Your system will get editable and you will be able to fill up the data for your auditor. So that is the easiest option. And this is allowed 100% for the first year auditor. So first AOC4, wherein the auditor appointment, first auditor appointment is not mandatorily be required to be filed with ADT1. Yeah, in that case, you can use Z999 even today, and it is validly accepting, the system is accepting that particular Z999, and you can continue doing that. Next point is bifurcation of employees. So now this is again a big question in the minds of all the stakeholders, that why, how all of a sudden we are getting into these labor laws. Because if you look at the amendments which happened this year, the director's report need to give the details of the POSH cases, all the details regarding the cases in respect of POSH, and also the maternity benefits. So this was never being part of your annual return. It was never part of your section 92. It is coming from the form. But I am of the view that if there is a mother section, so section 92 speaks about the form as may be prescribed. Okay. And if ministry is coming out with a prescribed form, then that prescribed form has got a same value as section 92. So they both are at par. So if form is asking you some data, you will have to fill it up. You cannot keep it blank. If you keep it blank, then it is okay. The form is accepting. But whether that is a correct filing or not is a big question. So I would suggest that in respect of bifurcation of employees, you should take data from the company and fill this data. Okay, we have seen that MSME returns or MSME related law came into India in 2006, but the importance really started from 2019, when all companies were mandatorily required to file these MSME-1 forms, right? So same way, now there might, I'm not very sure, but government might be focusing on these data points which you are putting it in AOC4, and they will link it with the labor laws. So if you mention 15 employees here in the AOC4, then all the labor law requirements of 15, 10 plus will get triggered off. So that might be a data exchange or the data usage. And this all is with like AI based system. So the data will get captured in labor laws and they will start sending you notices. So remember, nowadays with incorporation, you are getting that PF registration, ESI registration, then profession tax registration at the time of incorporation itself. So understand the labor laws and our company law is going to get cross intersected with each other. So make sure that whatever data you are filling it up here is correct. Yeah, many of the times I have seen that there is no salary which has been paid, but there are 2 whole-time directors in the company. Whether they should be calculated as employees, the answer is yes. So you need to be very careful, yeah, that what data you are exactly putting it up. Yeah, and when you are mentioning the data from ranging from 9 to 21, because after 21 there are very less additional compliances. So the trigger points are like 10 employees, 20 employees, 15 employees. After 20, almost there are similar kind of requirements. So I think if you are putting it up the data of employees here, you need to be very careful because it might trigger some other compliance requirements under labor laws. Yeah. Ashish bhai, any questions which have come so far, or we'll take it at the end?
We have a lot of questions, but I think हम आखिरी में ही लेते हैं तारा.
ठीक है, no problem. So whatever will be remaining, we will take it up at the end. Okay. So next point is save button in between. This we have already discussed. Name of the member ADT1 and AOC4 can be different and can change. So that is again one good point. Next point is very important because previous year figures are getting pre-filled. So that is one more advantage of this particular form, that previous year figures are getting pre-filled in this year's previous year column. So it's a very good move that you don't need to fill it up again. But this time there are 2-3 important points which you need to be careful about, because last year in respect of trade receivable, trade payables, other income, there was only one line item, and now there are bifurcated items. So you might not get that data pre-filled. Second, many of the balance sheet you will see that the previous year figures are regrouped or reclassified. In that case, you may have to change the previous year data. Once you make the change in the previous year data, you will also be required to give the reasons. It's better to give reasons, even though it is not mandatory, but there is a column for reason of change. So what system we as company secretaries need to follow is prepare a standard reason set. So 5 reasons: reclassified, data not correctly pre-filled, previous year this field was not available, therefore it was not getting pre-filled, previous year bifurcation was different, previous year AOC4 has not been filed, so you will get 0 or blank AOC4 previous year figures. In that also the reason will have to be mentioned. Okay, so this is one positive point, but you will have to be very careful when you are changing the data. Okay, in the while filling up the online form, you will get an error of balance sheet not getting tallied when you fill it up the data. So that is one more advantageous point which is there. Then see, what I believe is filling up the data, copy pasting it from the balance sheet or profit and loss account to AOC4 is an easy task. It can be done by anybody. It's not very difficult task. The difficult task is in respect of these financial parameters. There are around 60 financial parameters, few from balance sheet, few from P&L, and these are the trigger points. This is what I always believe, that for an holding company's percentage, whether it is under FDI, it will get checked, whether there are debentures issued, whether there are deposits, whether there are ICDs. So many questions are there. And many of the times I have seen people putting 00000, but there might be few entries which are there in the balance sheet or P&L, like investment in subsidiaries. It has been missed by many people in this financial parameter system. Or this year, I think there is an addition, political contribution. So amount of political contribution. So section 182 will get triggered. So I think we will have to be very careful about these financial parameters and filling it up the data in financial parameters. In financial parameters, there is one more point which is asked by many members is we have filed DPT3 in which we have mentioned 100 rupees as unsecured loan or 100 rupees as amount received from any other company, the closing balance. But actually in our financial statement, when it got audited, the amount was 125. So whether there will be a trigger, whether we will get notices from the regulators. I am of the view that DPT3 is on unaudited basis, and this AOC4 is based on audited basis. So you might defend it. But if it is 1 to 1 lakh, then you may have to really reply to government's question if they come out with. Like if you might have seen the recent developments in these in our field. One is those 148 notices and reminders they have sent automatically. So those are automated emails from ministry to all companies which were required to maintain cost records and appoint cost auditors. So if they have filed CRA2, they have given a reminder that CRA4 has to be filed, even though we got a extension yesterday itself for CRA4 also now. But if CRA2 is not filed, they have sent a show cause notice. And it is all automated and marked to all the directors also. So it's an automated thing. So data, they have captured it from 31st March 24 financial statement or AOC4 or XBRL, and they have triggered this off. Yeah. Same way, in respect of DPT3, they might come out on 1st July 2026 saying that why you have not filed the DPT3. Again, on the basis of different data which we are filling it up, they might send automated notices. And recently, just yesterday, we got that notification of having 2 more regional director offices, having 4 different ROCs. Yeah. So understand, the regulators are now going to regulate it more strictly. That is what I feel and I believe. And considering all these things, I think we need to be very careful when we are filing up any document, especially AOC4 or DPT3 kind of a thing. If there is a variance from DPT3 to AOC4, it is fine till the time you are able to prove that those were unaudited figures, these are audited figures, and they are reasonable. There is a reasonable variance. Okay. But if it is unreasonable, then you may have to answer if you receive any query. So it is very important to mention these financial parameters correctly. Next. So this is one slide which I think you should all read it on yourself before you actually file this AOC4 or certify this AOC4. There is a CSAS. So there are auditing standards, 4 auditing standards which are there, which include certifications also, and which requires engagement by the company. So if you are certifying AOC4, you should have at least one email from the company that you are engaged for filing and for certifying this AOC4. So this is what we are already certifying. So whoever is certifying AOC4, they are declaring that they have been duly engaged. Then all the above particulars are correct, true, and complete, and no information has been suppressed. So now this is a very wide certification which you are giving. Many of the company secretaries are of the view that we will not certify AOC4 forms, but I think there can be a good system that whatever data you are deriving from the balance sheet, you can put it up in the AOC4 without any issue because you have a backup. But if any data which you are calculating it and filling it up, like net worth of the company, for example, or number of employees, then you should take one confirmation about 10 pointers, like a management representation letter from the company saying that this data is correct, so that you don't end up in problem. Company, if they have given a wrong data, let them face the music, not the practicing professionals. So and the last line, again, the last certification, which I always believe, if you read it more, then you will be like you will incline towards not certifying AOC4 because of section 447, 448. Ideally, we should not shy away from certifying. The only thing is you need to have a proper system when you are certifying AOC4. Next, Pradeep. Yeah. Now, e-audit report and e-directors report. Again, there are a lot of different practices which are followed by professionals. So first we'll discuss about directors report. So 3 types of practices are followed by our professionals while drafting the directors report. One, they will put in all 33 points, and whatever is not applicable, they will mention a statement that this particular point is not applicable for the current year. This is the best practice. 33, 34 pointer directors report. 4 points have been recently added. Yeah, you must be aware about those IBC cases, one-time settlement and valuation case point, then this POSH related detailed disclosure and maternity benefit related disclosure. So these 4 points have been added, and there are around 33 to 34 points, including the acknowledgements as the standard directors report. And that standard directors report, you should keep it and mention it as it is not applicable, including the list of committees, vigil mechanism, everything. Whatever is mentioned in section 134, as well as the rules, as well as different other sections from where the director's report is getting triggered. Yeah, so there are around 33 to 34 pointers. So that is the best practice. Few people are only mentioning the points which are applicable. So 10 pointer director's report. Rest of the 23 points they are deleting. That's the most dangerous thing to do. And I don't think that we should follow that practice. But if somebody is following it, it is not illegal. But that has its own problems. So you can avoid that particular point. Third, which is in between these two. One is extreme, like all 35 points I'm mentioning, and out of which 10 points I'm mentioning not applicable, not applicable, not applicable. Other is I'm mentioning only 10 points which are applicable. Other, I'm just deleting the headings also. So these are the two extreme things. I have found few people taking a stand wherein they are mentioning 20 points which are applicable, and 21st point they are mentioning that the following points are not applicable, and giving the list of rest of the 10 or 11 pointers. So that is also possible. So this is the way director's report is getting drafted. Now you will have to fill up that entire data from the director's report in the e-director's report. Okay. And data has to be matched. So clause by clause, that needs to be matched. Okay. And at the end of director's report, again, there is one field which says that how many points, additional points are there in the director's report other than above. So around it comes to around 15 points which are there in the director's report but not included in the form. Yeah. So you will have to mention those 15 pointers, then 15 headings, and then 15 statements in 3 columns, three fields. So this is how you will have to fill up director's report. In certain fields, there is a restriction of 500 characters, including spaces, commas, apostrophes, and everything. So you might not see the complete data getting filled in the e-directors report. Same is the case with audit report. So again, now there are two ways of filing or three ways of filing the e-director report and e-audit report. The best one is to fill up every data which you have copy pasted in this e-audit report and e-directors report. If the characters there is a restriction on characters, you remove the last line and mention further data included in the director's report. This is the best practice which you can follow. The worst practice which you can follow is as per attached in all fields. You mention as per attached director's report, as per attached director's report. Yeah, system doesn't understand that what you have filled in as of now. It will accept the data as it is. But then we are losing the purpose of this e-director's report. Same is the case with audit report. Now we have got an extended time, so we can sit quietly, take each of the data from director's report and audit report and fill it up. Okay, so try to follow the best practices. Yeah, qualification and remarks will have to be separately mentioned. Now under CARO, earlier in audit report or AOC4, we had some around 6 to 8 pointers, which we used to just from the drop down, we used to mention favorable, unfavorable, or so and so. Now all the entire 19 or 21, whatever the number is, all the CARO points are required to be selected, and the text of the same has to be copy pasted. So this again is going to take a lot of time. Okay, so this e-audit report and the e-board report again is going to be very, very difficult. Yeah. Last one point in respect of section 186. Yeah. So there are 4 transactions which are covered under section 186. One is giving of loan, giving of guarantee, giving of security, and investment. So these are the 4 transactions which are covered. If you have any of the transactions, any transaction which involve these 4 points, either you have given loan, either you have given security, either you have given guarantee, or you have made an investment. If you are during the year, if there is even a single transaction which is covered in any of these 4, then you will have to mention it under 186. Okay. And that is a really difficult task, because there are few companies nowadays who are trading in listed company shares. So during the year, you might have exceeded the limit if you just do a arithmetic calculation, but you might have sold it also. So you don't have that bifurcation. So this is becoming a very difficult point to deal with. I am of the view that if there are transactions during the year, then you will have to mention each and every transaction of purchase and sale. The investment, guarantee, security, and loan. All transaction will have to be mentioned there, and whether it was under board approval or whether it was under shareholders approval. If it was under shareholders approval, then you will be required to also mention the SRN of MJT14 filed. Again, the system will track it, whether that MJT14 is actually filed for 186 or not. Okay, so this is one of the most difficult Excel file to fill it up. Okay, so there were questions like, for example, as on 31st March 24, I have got 2 crores of investments, and I have not made any investment during the year. Can I mention that there are no transactions of covering 186 during the year? Ideally, yes. This is the answer, that you don't have a transaction because opening and closing is same and there are no purchases and sale of investments. Then you can safely say that there were no trigger points for transactions to be disclosed under 186. Yeah. But if there is a transaction of 6 lakh rupees over 2 crores during the year, then whether you will mention 2 crores 6 lakhs or whether you will mention 6 lakhs, I am of the view that you will have to mention only 6 lakhs, the transactions during the year under this 186 clause. Very, very difficult. There is no clarity that what kind of, how this data is required. The Excel file is not also very clear. what kind of those PDF documents which are there for assistance in the login. They are also not very clear, so there needs to be some clarity on 186. Yeah, and we'll have to be very careful while filling it up. There are many companies which are exempted from section 186 because of infrastructural services or because of 100% holding subsidiary. Then you will have to mention that why 186 disclosures have not been given. And this particular point is very, very important because 186 is non-compoundable section. And if you are getting hit by 186, it is going to be really painful. So make sure that this, but you may take 1 day time to fill it up this data, but make sure that correct data is going in this Excel file, because it is one of the most serious section in Companies Act. Yeah, next, Pradeep. Then this is fine. Again, we have discussed about number of employees, then bifurcation of male, female, and transgender needs to be given separately. A number of other matters also we have mentioned. AOC 1, AOC 2, CSR forms will also get downloaded together, and they will have to get uploaded together also. So this is what will happen. Next. This is how this is the dream of every company secretary when we talk about filing of AOC 4. Yeah, and you will see these files, and if none of the file is corrupt, then you will send it for signature. So this will end up your working on AOC 4. Next. Yeah, so this is all about AOC 4. I think the question answer we will take it up only after MGT 7. So MGT 7 is not changed much. There are not many issues in MGT 7. So we'll take all the question answers later. Ashish bhai, is this fine? We can take the questions on, or you have a bifurcated questions on AOC 4 and
after the session.
After this MGT 7. So okay, so I'll try to complete this in 15 minutes time so that we'll get some time for questions on question answers also. I'm ready to stay back for question answer even beyond 5. That's not a problem. Yeah.
Yes.
So now AOC 4 is filed, so you are done halfway. Half work of yours is over for a particular company. Now you are looking at MGT 7. There are not many changes in MGT 7. The original and revised, as I mentioned, there are radio buttons in MGT 7, original and revised. But this revision is not voluntary revision. This is a revision only on the trigger of ROC. If he makes it, if they make it defective, then only you can file the revised return. Otherwise, you will not be allowed to file revised return. If there is a draft MGT 7 saved by somebody else in their login, you will not be able to upload MGT 7 in this login. If your MGT 7 is already filed, you will not be able to file the new MGT 7. So revised voluntary revision of MGT 7 is no more allowed under the new system. You will have to make it defective. And once it is defective, then only you will be able to file the revised one. So this is again a very important point in respect of MGT 7. Register office address needs to be given for 2 point of dates. So one is at the end of financial year. So that is 31st March 2025 for this year. And as on the date of filing, so nearer to the date of filing, whatever is your registered office address, you will have to put it up with longitude, latitude details and the photograph. The photograph will have to be given as on current date. So the current registered office photo, you will take it and then attach it to MGT 7. There is no requirement of geotagging, nothing, nowhere it is mentioned. There is no requirement of director photograph or KMP photograph to be attached. These requirements were only there at the time of active form, not at this point of time. So for register office shifting, yes, there is a requirement, but not for MGT 7. MGT 7 just require 2 photos. One is a photo with the section 12 requirement board and one outside building. So these 2 things are very, very important. All those companies who have changed their names in last 2 years will have to be very careful that their board, as per section 12, their board also should have the earlier name if the name has been changed within last 2 years. So that is also one important point. It should also include the GST number. That is not mandatory as per Companies Act, but you never know how this data can be used by other regulator. So make sure that the full compliant board of the company is present in the registered office, and there is a outside building photograph also clearly visible, and you are attaching it. No geotagging required, no director sitting required for the purpose of MGT7. Okay. Principal business activity, then again, don't do a copy paste from previous year because the entire data structure has changed. So the information about the principal business activity, you will find it in the help kit, which is available on the MCA website. Yeah, and you download it from there. You will receive the 3-pager list of principal business activities, because at the end you will have to match it to reach 100%. Many of the people have used the wrong selections in this principal business activity. So they were doing a wholesale trading business, but they have mentioned the product and the turnover was more than 100 crore. Therefore, those companies have received show cause notice under section 148, even though for wholesale business, cost audit is not required to be done. But still, 148 is not applicable. Still, they have received this notice. That is because of the wrong bifurcation either in MGT7 or AOC4, which we used to file in the XBRL. So that you will have to be very careful. Correct list. So this is a new list and lot of details are there. So earlier there were very few like drop downs. Now the drop downs runs into 25, 26 items. So 3-pager principal business. So you should select the correct one and the total should match to 100. Then list of shareholders. Again, the list of shareholders, there are 2 important changes in this. The list of shareholders will have validated sheet and sheet without validation. So if you have a data of all the shareholders, so you have data of so PAN number of all shareholders with you. Okay, you have bifurcation of individual shareholders into male, female, or transgender. If you have that entire data, then you should use the validated sheets and fill up the data. This year, I think they have allowed us to use both the sheets, validated sheets or sheet without validation. So you can either use validated sheet if you have the data, if you don't have the data. So if you have 5 shareholders, out of which you don't have PAN number of 2, then you should fill up the same data in sheet without validation, without the PAN numbers, or you can mention NA or dash and you can upload that data. That's not a problem. Okay, so make sure that you are selecting the correct sheet amongst that Excel file and you are uploading the data. Interestingly, this Excel file is not visible under public inspection. So now there are going to be a lot of questions in the minds of members how we will do the capital built up, because we compare it on the basis of MGT7. I don't know how it is going to happen at next year, but this is going to be very difficult now for the company secretaries to certify a list of shareholders based on MGT7. Yeah, so you may have to have real due diligence done before you give the list of shareholders. Next. Bifurcation male, female, transgender. I have come across a situation wherein one depository does not have this bifurcation in their data. So either CDSL or NSDL, they don't have a bifurcation or the list is not given. I think in one of the sessions, in one of the webinars, Rajesh Tarparaji has specifically mentioned is that whatever data RTA is giving, you should accept it. So the system should accept it. So whatever bifurcation is not available, then you will have to either do it in without validation, or you can do it separately. Pradeep, previous. Yeah, this is already discuss. Yeah, designated person. So under section 89, there is a requirement of appointing a designated person. If you have not appointed, then automatically all your KMPs, all your directors will become designated persons. You will have to fill up the data of designated persons under section 89 in MGT7. So there is a separate field which has come up. So even if you have not filed MGT6, you don't have a trigger of section 89, but still you will be required to have the designated person, because the wordings mentioned is every company. And these designated persons are the people who will be responsible for giving information to ROC in respect of beneficial interest. So I think it is applicable to all companies. So all companies should give this data. There is a misconception that only those companies in which MGT6 is filed, to them this is applicable, but for as far as my understanding goes, it is applicable to all. Details of meeting and attendance, again it was there in MGT7. The only problem is here you fill it up in the Excel file, you upload, yeah, but when you download the PDF file, the dates are reshuffled. So normally what we do is we sequentially enter the board meeting dates, like April, then May meeting, then June meeting, then July meeting. But when you download the form, it might be July meeting on row 1, May meeting on row 2, April meeting on row 3. So it gets reshuffled, even though the further data also gets reshuffled, so it gets expanded. So no worries. But again, you are confused that the data which you entered in Excel file or data which you entered in the online form is not matching with your PDF, and then it becomes stressful to check the final PDF. So again, that's one more point which is required to be checked by ministry or the software company, that why this is happening. This is a very small thing, but it adds on the pressure on the company secretaries or the professionals working. Then promoters, non-promoters, again, the bifurcation, because the promoter definition itself says that a person who has been named as a promoter in annual return is a promoter. So this is very important. The bifurcation will have to be given about the promoter and non-promoter. There is no bifurcation about promoter group as per Companies Act. So you are safe whether he is promoter or non-promoter. It should also match with your financial statement. So make sure that this is matching. Next. Particulars of holding subsidiary, again the Excel file, and again it gets uploaded. Not a very difficult task. Capital details need to be filled in manually, because it doesn't get pre-filled as of now in MGT7. So I have seen that there are a lot of data mismatch in share capital, authorized capital. Different classes are getting created. Very difficult to manage that data. Here the data entry is physical, so there is no major issue. Because of this MGT7, your master data is not going to get corrected, so you don't need to worry much about it, even if there are any changes in between. Here again there is a problem that there might be a situation that at the opening there was physical shares, and at the closing there are demat shares. Because of the requirement of rule 9B or 9A, you have dematted your shares. In that case, you may have to reduce it from the physical and mention it in others and add it up in demat. So there are 2 columns, so that needs to be checked. It should also match with your past 6. If you have filed it for 31st March 25, it should match with your past 6 filed. If it is not matching, then it might trigger a question from the regulator. ISIN, if you have received ISIN as on 31st March, then only you will be allowed to enter that ISIN. You should not enter a ISIN which has been received in October, because you are filing it on MGT7 today. Because at the end of MGT7, there is a disclosure that all the data which has been provided is as on the 31st March. So if you had ISIN as on 31st March, then you should put it up in the MGT7. Transfer related details, again, there are a lot of questions in respect whether the transfer in demat form needs to be also included. So for private limited companies wherein there is a frozen ISIN, you can still have the data of transfer of shares, but for public limited or listed entities, you will not have that data. So you can mention explanatory note saying that the transfer details of DMAT are not available, or of that, so something of that sort, and you will have to attach it to MGT7 for your safety and security. Then one more point, that details of FIIs. This is one very impractical thing which has been introduced. This wasn't there in earlier MGT7. So name of the FII investment, then their country of origin, their date of incorporation, and their number of shares held and the percentage. So this data needs to be filled in. There are only 15 fields in that particular form. And the problem is it should tally with your FII holding, which you have mentioned in the MGT7. So if I have got 50 more than 15 people FIIs, then it becomes very difficult. Then having the data of date of incorporation of these FIIs is also very, very difficult. You may not have that data readily available. So I think there is a very valid suggestion for this particular field to the ministry, that we need some clarity on this particular point. And somehow people are filing this form based on whatever best practices they can follow, but it's very, very difficult to fill up this data. Next. Yeah, again, this certification remains the same. In earlier MGT7 also, there was a certification that the company has made the compliances and disclosures in respect of applicable provisions of Companies Act. So all applicable provisions, and we are clicking yes, and whether really the company has complied with these provisions, yes or no, and you are certifying. So very difficult certification for all company secretaries. Make sure that all the records are updated, they are signed, they are maintained as per Companies Act, disclosures are given, and there are no non-compliances. So then only you should file this MGT7 and certify this MGT7. Again, details of punishments, penalties, compounding fees on promoters, directors, and companies, not only in respect of Companies Act, but in respect of all acts, because the list says that the name of the act under which the penalty has been paid. So it is not only for Companies Act, but also for all other acts. MGT8, again, there is a problem that they have introduced MGT8 as a part of MGT7. So the entire MGT7 has been copy pasted as a frozen field in MGT7, and practicing company secretary who is signing MGT8 has to digitally sign that MGT7. So what is happening is, if there are few qualifications in MGT8, I will have to sign this form as it is, because I cannot make the changes in those fields. So what institute has said that whatever it is, you should issue MGT8 in physical form, yeah, and attach a scanned copy of MGT8 to MGT7. In addition to that, what I would suggest is you should write a disclaimer at the top of MGT8 saying that if there is a discrepancy between MGT8 scanned copy and MGT7, then MGT8 scanned copy should be treated as final. This is the disclaimer which you should mention, so that your MGT8 which is in scanned copy will prevail over MGT7 which you have filed. Yeah, so this is one additional point which I would like to suggest that we should follow, so that we don't end up in two different, same document showing two different statuses. This we have already discussed. Next. Yeah, so this is all about filing of these forms. There are few suggestions which I'll just quickly complete for the members. So I think we have covered a lot of points in respect of AOC4 and MGT7, but in this, in addition to that, I had specifically mentioned this for our members, that take your time, file the form correctly. Let it be a late filing fee. There is no problem. Late filing is not a crime. There will not be any penalty on you, because as per section 454, there is already an immunity. that if the company files the annual return or financial statements either before receiving the notice from the regulator or within 30 days from the date of receipt of notice, then there will not be any adjudication requirement for annual filing. So you are safe. There is an immunity given. So if you are filing late, it is better. Even if so, don't file incorrect forms just to save those 100 rupees additional fee. Yeah. So this is what my suggestion is for the members. Explanatory letters, even though they don't have value in terms of data capturing of V3 is concerned, but it will safeguard you and it will safeguard the company. Wherever you have taken certain stands while filing up and filling up the form, you should mention it, like FIIs or like male, female, transgender. That bifurcation is not available. So I don't know whether they are males, females, or transgenders. I cannot get into the list of 10,000 shareholders and keep on checking whether male, female, transgender. So I will add it up in males, and I will just mention that all shareholders whose details are not available, I have added up in the males list, or I will use non-validated list of shareholders for uploading. Yeah. So explanatory letters will definitely help you to secure your skin in future. Confirmation about amounts which you calculate, like net worth, principal business percentage, employee data, which is not available in the financial statement. Take a confirmation letter, take a management representation letter for MGT7, MGT8. Yeah. And I think CSAS4 clearly stipulates that how your management representation letter, what should be included in management representation letter. So you can go through it and it will be a guiding principle for you to get a management representation letter. Time management and scale of fees. When I was president in 2022, people were asking me why we are not coming out with scale of fees, that for incorporation you should charge minimum 35, 40,000, 50,000. For annual filing, you should charge X. For MGT8, this much. So institute had over the period of time discussed this point quite often, but at the end it is very difficult to come to a concrete number, because it can be used both ways. It can be treated as the highest number, it can be treated as the lowest number. So there is a lot of problem, but every company secretary who is practicing should decide what is my scale of fees based on the time which I am devoting for annual filing. So gone are the days when we used to, one company secretary used to file 500 forms together. Gone are those days, because the time which is required for filling up one form, filing up of one form, you will not be able to work with it in bulk. So make sure that you decide your own scale of fees. Below that, I will not even touch AOC4 or MGT7. So that becomes a very personal and private decision, that what should be your scale of fees. Staff logins can be created, very useful. You can use the company logins. That is also one very easy way of handling the things. Proper drafting of director's report. Many company secretaries are now drafting the director's report as per e-director's report. So all points they are matching up with e-director's report. That can be helpful. So that is one option which you have. Delayed filing better than wrong filing. Like I mentioned, there is an immunity. Final word files of audit report and director's report, most crucial. If you don't have that, then the entire work what you have done is going to be futile and it will not be fruitful. Correct matching of data with the financials. Yeah. So check the financials before you start working on AOC4. Extension of time, again, it is extension of time only up to 2 months. I don't see any further extension coming. This is my personal view. And the problem is on 1st January, you will have to have late fees of 6,100. So make sure that you utilize this 31st December deadline and you file all the documents within time. Next. Pradeep, next, yeah. There are few suggestions to the regulators, as we have already discussed many of them. I'll just wrap it up in a couple of minutes. Rounding off and actual numbers, so more clarity is required. So either either this side or that side, because this is becoming a really a time consuming, and I don't know what is the purpose behind having two types of numbers in one filing, wherein scanned copy is rounded off and the data entered is actual number. Either way, you need to take that decision, and we need to talk to the government and regulator that this is a practical problem which we are facing. Clarity about related party transaction only related to 188, or whether it is related to all related party transactions. That clarity needs to be there. Under section 186 also there is a lot of clarity which is required, as we mentioned. Clarity about employees, who are my employees, whether contract employees are my contract labor is my employee, whether only permanent employees, whether they are only on the payroll. That clarity needs to be there. And there are again questions that what is the source of this information being asked in this form. But I think the words "as may be prescribed" gives a full freedom to ministry to draft this form. So, but some clarity needs to be given to the professionals or the companies, that how the details of employees needs to be given. Then website download issues, I think some discussion with the service provider needs to be there, because it is taking a lot of time for login, and for downloading also we are getting corrupt files, and they are not getting uploaded. A lot of problems. And so one fine day one form will get uploaded in 2 minutes, other fine day the form will take 2 to 3 hours time to get uploaded. So that should not be the case. I think yes, I know it depends on the bandwidth and the number of users who are logged in. The speed depends on that, but still there has to be some consistency. So if I click one link, I think you should allow us to download the same forms, or at least give us some time stating that you can download these forms only after 2 hours, 3 hours, 5 hours, whatever it is, or tomorrow, so that we can plan our work accordingly. So this is one suggestion which we can give it to the ministry. FII details, I think very difficult to find out date of incorporation of an FII, because the registrar and transfer agents also do not have this data. So very difficult. Everybody is using now ChatGPT and Google, and there is no legal backup which we have. We don't have any control over those FIIs, because they are like huge investors, and we don't get any information from their side. And to fill it up in the form and certify it is very difficult. So something needs to be done in respect of this. Board meeting dates which are getting reshuffled, this I think is a very minor thing which can be can be done on a click of a button, I believe. So such things will reduce some pressure from the professionals. Radio button should be allowed to deselect. Sometimes by mistake we select a radio button if it is yes or no, and if you select yes, and even though it is not applicable, like CAG audit, whether it is applicable or not, sometimes we mention we don't click anything, yeah, so that it is treating it as not applicable. But sometimes if you mention yes or no, then you may have to go for either yes or no, even if it is not applicable. So you should be allowed to do the deselection of the radio buttons also. So that is one point which can be given suggestion. MGT8, that static format should be removed from MGT7. And whatever scanned copy we are attaching, we can give them suggestion that the MGT8 can be made machine readable, like the documents which we are uploading on the stock exchanges, kind of converted documents. We can use it so that their machines will be able to read the MGT8. So that suggestion can be given for MGT8, and the static part should be removed from MGT7. That is what my suggestion is. And it should be edited, or otherwise it should be editable, just like our EAOC, EAOA, yeah, articles. There is a possibility of editing that particular field. If they make it that way, then it will be very easy. Clarity about whether as per attached report, whether it is allowed. If it is allowed per se, then it is very good. Otherwise, ministry should come out with a clarity that we should not use as per attached field in the e-audit report and e-directors report. Pradeep, next. Improvement in downloading of the forms. Again, this we have discussed. Designated persons also we have discussed. MJT-15, the issue with the company secretaries and their linking with the CIN. We have faced a lot of issues in MJT-15. So that needs to be crystallized by ministry. CSR2 data which is getting pre-filled from the previous year because there was no form. So what used to happen in earlier case, if CSR is not applicable that year, then the previous year data also used to be vanished. So I think there needs to be some edit allowed under CSR2, the data which we are capturing at least for the first year, so that from next year everything will be easy to handle. And site needs to be upgraded to handle the heavy load during peak filing. These are few suggestions from my side personally. This is nothing to do with the institute. I think Ashish Bhai can take it as suggestions coming out of the webinar, and they can put it up in front of ministry, and that can help all of us to work easily. So that's it from my side. So Ashish Bhai, over to you if you have any questions.
Yes. Thank you, sir. You have captured the key points very well. जहाँ तक क्वेश्चन की बात है, नंबर ऑफ क्वेश्चंस वी आर हैविंग, मोर देन 300 क्वेश्चंस वी आर हैविंग. कई रिपीटेटिव है, कई आपका आंसर ऑलरेडी दे चुके हो, तो मैं कोशिश करता हूँ उसमें से कुछ लेने का. ठीक है, तो माय फर्स्ट एंड इम्पोर्टेंट क्वेश्चन, sir, can we refer to this V3 filing as mini XBRL or beyond XBRL filing? Actually, your answer will help members to understand whether they can justify charging higher fees for this filing, since it's require equivalent time as standard XBRL filing. So what is your view?
Yes, I would suggest, what I believe personally, this year XBRL filing is easier than normal filing. So I think this year you may not be able to increase the fees all of a sudden, but next year at least you should make sure that you decide your scale of fees, your own scale of fees. और आपने ही डिसाइड करना है कि भाई मैं इसके नीचे एनुअल फाइलिंग को हाथ ही नहीं लगाऊंगा, क्योंकि जितना टाइम जा रहा है कि XBRL आपको फाइल, the time which you are taking for preparing AOC4 or MJT7, collecting the data, collecting information, putting it correctly, this downloading taking time. So I think it is more than XBRL sometimes.
Yes, perfectly right. So next stage, sometimes we are not comfortable directly taking certain points from the auditor report or the director report. In such cases, is it acceptable to mention as per attachment?
Yeah, so many people I have seen in LLP, the form 3, form 4, many people are only saying as per agreement, as per agreement. In CHG1, many professionals are saying, mentioning as per attachment, as per agreement. That is not the purpose of the form. So I think that should be used only when you have multiple information and which is not fitting in the field. Only in those cases you should use as per attachment. Otherwise, you should not use it. And actually, ministry should give an advisory that as per attachment should not be used. Otherwise, there is no purpose in preparing these forms.
Okay. MGT is in the format for the list of shareholder also for the gender of each shareholder. So, is there any specific relevance or purpose for including this information?
I really don't know. I really don't know what is the purpose and why it has to get triggered from MGT7, because I think if the depository system already has the entire data, slowly everything is going to be on online mode. Only small companies will have physical shares. So I don't know what is the purpose, but they require this data and we are required to give it. If you are giving it, then it has to be correct only. You cannot just So in one of the case, one of my trainee, it's an interesting thing. He just added all the shareholders whose gender was not specified. He added it in the transgender. I said, don't do that, because you will change the entire demography of the country. Because if everybody starts doing it, it will change the demography. So don't do it. Add it in either male or female. So, and with an explanatory note. So that is how one should treat it. I don't know what is the purpose and how MGT7 is going to help getting this data. I'm really not aware, not very sure.
Okay, sir. Sir, next is what to do in case of joint auditor. Form is not accepting details. What to do in case of joint auditors is the form is not accepting details of more than one auditor.
No. Now the joint auditor thing is very well settled. If you have filed the ADT1 correctly, now the joint auditor's details are getting pre-filled. That's not a problem. Yeah. So you can. So that's not a problem.
Yes.
Earlier, there were a lot of issues in respect of ADT1. While filing up of ADT1, joint auditor was a problem, but that particular problem has been solved by ministry now.
Okay, got it. Sir, next is for small company. Post details not required to be given in director report. Do we have to mention in the form?
Yes, so whatever is not applicable, you can mention as not applicable. For example, board evaluation, not applicable to private limited companies, you can mention not applicable or NA. Even if your director's report may not be having that particular point, but you can just mention not applicable.
Okay. Sir, certain pointers are not applicable while filling the extract of auditor reports. Neither they are found in actual auditor report. What to report there?
Yeah, so you can mention that this particular point is not mentioned in the signed audit report, either this line, or you can just mention not applicable. But
Okay.
when you are filling up that data, you should have some backup. So you should at least have once you should discuss with the auditor whether you have missed that particular point or whether it is not applicable. If it is missed, then it's a problem.
Okay. Sir, what happens if we are charged additional fees for filing form AOC4, form CRA4 in spite of the extension? Can we get refund of additional fees?
No, you will not get refund, because see, it is always from the date of circular. So if you file and in this year, they have specifically mentioned that don't file the forms till the system is upgraded. So I think today the system has been upgraded and now there are no additional fees which are getting charged, but not possible for you to. So for example, my AGM happened in May and I filed the documents in August. Yeah, I have already paid the additional fees. I will not get refund for that. Refund I will get it on the benefit I will get it only for the forms which I am filing it after today.
Sir, there are many cases where the auditor has resigned, but he has not filed form ADT3. So filing ADT3 is the responsibility of the auditor, not the company. And how can we bind the auditor to file the same, and system is not allowing us to file ADT1 without filing ADT3?
No. The thing is, if you have filed ADT1, so earlier term ADT1 has been filed, auditor is not filing ADT3, and now again you have to file ADT1. So in this second ADT1, there is a mention of SRN of relevant form. In that SRN of relevant form, if you don't have ADT3 SRN, you can mention the original ADT1 SRN and you can go ahead and file your ADT1, the next one. So that's not a problem. The system accepts the old ADT1 SRN. So ADT3 is not mandatory for you.
AOC4, we can put different date of signing of standalone and consolidated balance sheet. But in current AOC4 form, same is not acceptable. So please suggest how to tackle this.
No, I don't think so. This is a problem because I have not come across this situation. But in XBRL, I have come across the situation wherein consolidated has been signed on a different date and standalone is signed on a different date. The only thing is your AGM should be only after the signing of consolidated financial statements. If
Yes.
if that's a so if that is a problem, then system will throw an error.
Okay. Sir, which form need to submit for NBFC not having endorsed a normal AOC4 or AOC4 NBFC?
If non-Ind AS, then they will
Non-Ind-AS.
AOC4,
Yeah,
normal AOC4.
normal AOC4.
Yes.
Sir, AGM held in the month of August, AOC4 filed with CSR2, but CSR funds is still pending to be spent by the company. Can we file revised CSR2 after spending money before 31st March 2026?
No, you cannot. Now there is no system of revision. Whatever you are filing, you should file it at once. So there is no possibility of revised form.
The financial year of the company was changed from calendar year January 23 to December 23 to accounting year January 24 to March 25. While filing AOC4, a link form should appear for CSR2, but it was not appearing as MCA says. Financial year is not starting from April 1. How to resolve this issue?
No, this has to be dealt with MCA, because they will have to update their system, because in section 135 also it says that financial year. So company should spend during the financial year. So whatever financial year I have, same financial year I will have to spend the CSR. So if there is a NCLT approval for change of financial year, then on that basis you can write to ministry through CRF and get the things corrected.
Sir, regarding MGTR, the ICSI has issued an advisory stating this data signed copy should be attached, but the form is standard format with no option to change. How to deal with this issue? I think
Yeah,
you have covered.
that I have already covered. You should put one disclaimer on the top of MGT8, signed MGT8, that in case of discrepancy between the MGT7 field and MGT8 signed field, MGT8 should be taken as final.
Okay. Sir, regarding emphasis of matter, tagging in the auditor report, generally most auditor reports don't include an emphasis of matter paragraph. In such case, should we simply enter nil or not applicable
Not applicable.
in the tagging field? Not applicable.
Not applicable.
Okay, sir. Sir, 512 is already done. My last question. At the moment, it seems to all of us that V3 is a time-consuming process, but from a governance and compliance perspective, how do you view it? What impact will it have on corporates?
I think, see, all the changes which are happening, and with triggers which is getting, so ministry will have more data, so they will be able to control the companies based on the data. So there have been a lot of funds which are getting circulated amongst group companies. So that 186 Excel file, if it is running into say 1,000 rows, ministry will get to know that, okay, this company is having 1,000 transactions of loan given, guarantees given. So they will inquire into that. So inquiry, inspection, and investigation, these 3 points will get triggered. And I think good for the professionals, because we always, what I said at the beginning, we are the most moral professionals, because we take it as our responsibility, our duty to file the documents correctly. Even if there is no certification, still we believe that we should file it correctly. So I think it will be good for us, because if regulator is from our side, we can tell companies that bhai, ye samajh lena ki if you file it wrongly, then you will be responsible. And this is how the notices are coming. And with nowadays, many members are forwarding those adjudication orders. That is creating a lot of hype towards compliances, and it's good for us. I think good for us. Corporates might take it differently, because they will have to spend more data will be required to be shared. getting the data from HR. So company secretary is sitting in a company and he wants the data of bifurcation of employees as on 31st March. Very difficult. So that might be some challenge, but at the end, if it is required by the regulator, we cannot deny that. So good for us as professionals.
Okay, sir. Sir, last question. Under Form MSME, do we have to also consider the entities who have not submitted their revised registration certificates as per the new definition under the Act?
I am of the view that if the company has followed its own process, even though it is not part of annual filing, but still we'll take up this question. But if the vendor has not informed you about his status, if your vendor creation, you might have followed the vendor creation process. At that time also you were not given the data, or if you have sent the annual confirmation about whether you are small or micro or medium, and to which he has not replied, then you can take a call that we are not aware about his status, so we have not given his data, even if it is outstanding for more than 45 days. The only hitch is there is a high court, Delhi High Court judgment, which says that even if you don't have the MSME certificate with you, still, if you are aware about their credentials, then you should treat them as small or micro, something which is not very acceptable by the corporates. So if you don't have the information, you can exclude them from the list. This is what practically I think.
सर, एक क्वेश्चन है जो बार बार आ रहा है, अभी भी आ रहा है, आपने शायद आंसर भी दिया है. ऑन फाइलिंग फॉर्म CSR2, कैन वी रिवाइज द एक्सेल डिटेल्स वंस अपलोडेड?
No, you cannot. You cannot.
Okay,
That's
sir.
a difficult task now. So that's what I'm saying, that if you have the entire data, then only sit for the annual filing. Otherwise, you don't get into it, because after 15 days, your form will get vanished and you will have again some headache. So that is why this session, I hope that this session will help members to understand that what kind of data is required for completing the entire annual filing. And I must appreciate you and the entire Central Council for arranging such kind of sessions so that we can discuss various points and come to some conclusions.
Yes, sir. So thank you. Due to time constraints, we now have to conclude this session.
Yes.
However, I am glad to note that the most of the doubts and queries have been addressed comprehensively, and your suggestion and practical insights, both for members and regulators, are highly valuable for us, and will surely assist in shaping better practices. You have addressed all possible challenges and tones in a clear and structured manner. As you are already aware, under the leadership of Manish Gupta ji, we have the CLGC committee, and रेगुलर जो भी इश्यूज आपने बताए या जो भी मेंबर्स के साथ में आते हैं, तो लगातार MC के साथ में टच में रहकर वो हमेशा पॉइंट आउट करते हैं. सो थैंक यू सर फॉर टेकिंग द टाइम टू शेयर योर एक्सपर्टीज. Also, I would like to extend my heartfelt thanks to all the participants for your active involvement and engagement, and we look forward to meeting you again in our next webinar for another enriching session. Thank you, Deven sir, and thank you all.
Thank you very much. Thanks all. Bye bye.
Thank you, sir.